So last night I had the pleasure of watching Wonka from 2023. This is directed by Paul King and stars Timothee Chalamet. If you don't recognize the name Paul King, he's the person that directed the Paddington and Paddington 2 movies. And I have to say a story about these movies real quick. Because, don't get me wrong, like I've been a cinephile for like as long as I can remember, but like when I heard about these movies, I kind of like blew them off as kids' movies, even though like the first one was set like a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes and like 98% Metacritic score, and like people just clamoring about this. I'm just like, it's probably a kids movie. They're probably liking it because like they're taking the kids to see it, and just that's like why they're liking it. But it got to the point where I was like, all right, I gotta watch this, because this is like literally the highest rated movie like the year it came out, and I adored it. And I'm just like, this is really like, it's weird because it's definitely is a kids movie, but me being like a 35-year-old, male, like I very much enjoyed it, and I was like, this is like, I understand like everything, like why, like this is getting like all of the great reviews, and I gave it like a 5 out of 5, and like to this day, like I think it's just mesmerizing. It's one of those things like where like I didn't go to like to Disney World or Disneyland I should say until like I was like I think almost like 30 years old, like maybe 28 or something like that. But you feel transported like in this like world that like you used to belong in, and like you don't really belong there anymore, but at the same time like you're very much welcome to that world. And like my brother mentions like that, like the whole time I was at Disneyland I just had a smile on my face because I was just like in awe of everything and like amazed, like just like had this like feeling that like of just pure like bewilderment. I don't know how to describe it. So then like the second movie comes out, and people are sitting there saying that the second movie is even better than the first one, and it was like, this doesn't make any sense. This first one's so great, like literally like probably like one of my highest rated G movies ever. Like it's near perfection, and again like the same thing. Like I think it was like 100% Rotten Tomatoes for like the longest time until like one of those critics that purposely like goes against like the narrative on their reviews, and then like same thing like with like Metacritic scores like super high, like 99, 100%, and it's like, dude, there's no way this can be better. And I watch it, and it is, and it's just like it's completely different story. Like they went completely like a completely different direction like than I thought they would, and I'm just like, it blew my mind. And today, like Paddington 2 is like one of my favorite movies of all time. I've watched it multiple times now just because it's very like cozy, for and like charming. I don't know how else to describe it. Like I highly recommend that everyone in the world go see Paddington 1 and 2. So then like I get to this like situation like where these two Paddington movies come out, and like they're both directed by Paul King, and like now Paul King's like on like one of the top people on my radar. Like I'm actively like like seeing like what else this guy's doing, and like following his career and everything. I was like, when's Paddington 3 coming out? Like, and he keeps saying like, Paddington 3, like it'll happen when we get a good script and all that stuff. So like, well, you got to be doing something. You can't just sit there and do nothing. Like I'm sure he could, financially and all that stuff. But usually these directors like want to like keep making movies like to because they're artists and they want to keep like putting out their art. So he gets attached to this Wonka movie, and I instantly have mixed feelings. David Chin from the film cast put it the best at, and I'm just gonna paraphrase here, but he basically said like a reboot of like an old IP, like reimagined and with like modern actors and everything. It's like it's exactly what's wrong with like the movie industry right now, and like that was like a lot of my feelings, and also like please don't touch this beloved movie from my childhood, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, like the old 1971 one. And then I find out it's a musical, and like the last one wasn't, but the first one was, and like it made me like more interested in it because like I'm just like, okay, like you have all these like songs that like, very iconic songs like Pure Imagination, and it's just like, well, if like, are they just gonna like do like the same movie then, like, because like Pure Imagination, like the theme of it's like in the trailer and everything, and you guys at points like where like it started getting like mixed reviews and like more so favorably though, and it was like I understand like the mixed reviews because like some people don't like musicals, they're completely against musicals, which I don't understand, but at the same time too, like they might be just stuck like in the, hey, like, don't touch what's already been made and like already like a very good movie and everything. But I'm just like, I gotta watch this, and so like I had like the opportunity to watch it last night, and like I was floored by this movie. And this I do need, like, right away I'm going to tell you it's a prequel. This is, Willy Wonka, played by Timothee Chalamet, and he's trying to make his own chocolate store for the first time. This is before he's got a factory, before he's sold like any chocolate or anything like this. And right there alone, like, that's enough to warrant, because you're expanding on the story of, both like the first and the second, the Tim Burton movie and like the Gene Wilder movie. And it's like, they have like all sorts of songs in it too that like I think stand up to like the original songs. Like, aside from, Pure Imagination, like a lot of people like have a hard time like talking about like the songs from the first one. Of course, there's like the first song, Candyman, or I've Got a Golden Ticket, or Veruca's song of I want a golden ticket, or whatever. But like a lot of people like don't recognize those songs, like the Pure Imagination, because it's like that mesmerizing, or the Oompa Loompa songs, I should say, as well. But this song starts off with a song, and I'm just like, this is instantly catchy. Like, I could easily see this become, and then like later on, like there's a song that's even catchier than that, and it was like these songs like definitely hold up to the originals. On top of that, like Timothée Chalamet is doing these like things that are like very reminiscent of like what Gene Wilder does like in the first one, and I think like basically this is a prequel to the first one. They're completely abandoning like the second one, but like also like making it their own thing. Like Slugworth is in this movie, but he's like he's completely opposed of Willy Wonka. Like he's like a rival like chocolatier. So it's just like, I guess they could like build into like, like them like reconciling their friendship or whatever, and like becoming friends, because I think even like the original like Slugworth is older. But then like he does like stuff like, like how like in Pure Imagination, like he walks down a couple steps, then walks back up a couple steps, and then walks down the steps. Like he does that in this movie. Or like, he says something and he's like, scratch that, reverse it. Like, and it does an old one, he does it in this new one as well. Or like, there's all sorts of like other Easter eggs, like he drops the coin down a drain, and if you don't recall from like the old movies, in the Gene Wilder movie, like Charlie finds a coin in a drain, and like he buys a candy bar, and that's the candy bar that's got the golden ticket. There's all sorts of like little like nods like the original one, but at the same time, like this stands on its own. It's its own unique story, and I was just completely enamored the whole time. Like, I don't think this is as good as Paddington or Paddington 2, but it's very close to being as good as those, as far as just charm and wonder and everything. Like, it's not quite sci-fi, but it's like definitely magical. Of like, his chocolate is like more out there, and then of course like later on, like he's doing like other things, like he's got like a chocolate that like you eat it and like it makes you like literally float, and it's just like, it doesn't seem too far out, because like originally he had like fizzy lifty drinks, so it's just like, but you never see that process of them being made. Like in this one, it's like he's got like some like insect inside of it, or insect egg or whatever, so like like the insect hatches and it flies away, and like that's like what makes you float or whatever, or like he's got this like chocolate that it's got like a storm cloud in it, and like literally it's like animated, like you can see like the storm cloud like inside the chocolate, and it's just like, this is like a little bit more magical, but at the same time, like obviously like, there's like outs like un extraordinary things happening like in the first movie as well. So it's just like, and in the second movie, you know, the second movie's a little bit more grounded, I guess, but both of them have like these extraordinary things, but they feel like even like more magical and whimsical in this one. I don't know if it's just because like of the time and everything, of the advancement of technology and like movie making, but I was completely floored by this movie. I'll put it that way. And it's like, it gets like to like the idea of like my top 10 of 2023, and like, I'm gonna do a movie on this later on, but I don't think it's gonna dethrone Past Lives for me, because like the more I step away from this movie, I see like more and more flaws in it. But at the same time, like the viewing experience I had like while watching this, like it's definitely like one of my favorite movie viewing experiences of 2023. But I really, really hope that they expand this into more films. It kind of sucks because like obviously it's a prequel before he has his like factory and everything, so it's just like I don't know if like they're gonna like act like the old 1971 version is like that, like the next movie like in like the lineage, and then like, you know, maybe jump time to like where he's doing like those more sci-fi-esque adventures like that he does like in the books, of going to like different planets and like talking to different species and like whatnot. But either way, like I am fully on board. Like Paul King, like just like cemented himself as like one of my favorite directors. Like even though it's just the 3 movies that of his that I think I've seen. Timothee Chalamet like steps outside of his like the movies I've seen him in, like you know, Bones and All, and Call Me by Your Name, which he's playing a very similar role. And then like, you know, Dune, which he's playing like a lot more moodier of a role. And then like, I'm sure there's like no movies I've seen him in. Like those are the only ones I can think of off the top of my head. And this is completely different because it's like, he's completely charismatic. He's a completely like highly positive person, like a magical person. Whereas like, you know, he like Call Me by Your Name and Bones and All are very like sexually deviant movies. You know, Call Me by Your Name less so, but at the same time it is like a very like quote unquote horny movie. I don't know how else to put that, but that's like more romantical, like whereas Bones and All is definitely more perverse. And obviously Bones and All has like more of like a horror element as well. A horror, I don't know a better way to describe that. But then of course Dune is like, you know, like this angsty, moody, dark. I don't know if he's technically a teenager, but like young adult, and definitely like, you know, more fantasy like. But he's becoming like one of those actors. Like I'm gonna have to like start putting him on my radar. He's not quite there yet, but you know, he's not like up there like a Ryan Gosling or a Tom Hardy or, you know, what actors I consider like, you know, or Jake Gyllenhaal, like, you know, top of the line actors. He's not there yet, in my opinion, but he's getting there. But anyways, yeah, I'd probably give this movie. I'm kind of stuck between like a 4.5 out of 5, or 4.5 out of 5, or 5 out of 5. It's definitely like one of the better movies I've seen this year. Like I'd say top 3 currently, but it's weird. I don't know, somewhere in there. But anyways, that's my review of Wonka from 2023. I think my next movie review is either going to be Annette, which is an like, older Adam Driver movie, or I still want to watch Iron Claw. That's like highly on my list. There's a couple other movies, but it's just, you know, finding time to go to the theater or waiting for them to come out on video on demand or something. But yeah, bye.